Hello everyone, this is Alireza. This will be a very short episode because basically I got permission from LordOfDuct to port his utilities into my own. And if you recall, in previous episode I showed you the link for his GitHub repository. So I went and got his arrays extensions and I converted them all to extension methods. And he had few private classes there. His enum extensions, his string extensions, and there are tons of them, and his irandom interface for the array extension. And look at here. His conversion util, basically, come on, work. Why are you not working? Huh. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not working. Interesting. Well, the hotkey that I'm looking for is Control M, Control A, that minimize everything. Anyway, it sometimes works, sometimes not working. So basically, this was my to bool, okay? And this whole section comes from his conversion util, and you see that it's a lot. Okay? Yeah. This is my to byte and to int, and this is his to ints. Then I got my float. He had named his to single. I just replaced them to float so that I can be consistent. This is my color. This is his. And he has two color 32 that I didn't have. I had two rect. He didn't have. I had two vector 3 and his vector 2s, his vector 3s, his vector 4s, and my quaternion and his quaternions, my toString as his and his toString. He didn't have animation curve, and basically this part, this whole section comes from him. And if you look, it's halfway through the list basically. So he has tons of things there that I didn't had. For example, to date, to time, and other stuff, okay? To prime numbers, for example, and to byte array from bit array. So what I did, basically, I ported all of his conversion util repository because that's nice to have flexibility inside your utilities, especially the one that is dealing with conversion utils. It's always nice to be able to be flexible. And yeah, near 1,000 lines of Git repository being forked. In my reflection utils, it's not working. Interesting. So in my reflection utils, for example, I got these guys from him again. So try compare to and try get values are mine. Is numeric type. Value is numeric type. Is integer is numeric. And is supported type. Is type. Get property type. Get property just get property type for serialized property type. And I think I had a set property type, but I may missed it because he had it. Yeah, I missed it. So he has another one for serialized property that says set property type. And or may not, I'm not sure. But get serialized property type came from him. Oh yeah, here we go. Get property value, set property value. So these guys again, these three came from his repository. I just wanted to mention them because, you know, later on I may use them and you may yell at me that, hey, where did they come from? They came from LordOfDuct repositories, and it's on Git. Even if you don't have the link, you can simply go into github.com and search for LordOfDuct. And it didn't found it. Why you are not finding it? LordOfDuct. Yeah, this way, okay? So github.com/LordOfDuct, and this Spice Puppy Unity framework is the whole thing. Those conversion utils and others came from the base. Editor, I didn't dive in, to be honest. There are tons of things here, but I don't know if I may use them or not. I just liked his, you know, for example, where are you? Conversion, inside utils, sorry. Conversion util. And I still didn't look at vector utils. It should be interesting. String utils, I convert them to the extension methods. Array utils, I converted to my extension methods. Enum utils to extension methods. And I will take a look at layer utils and see if I can convert them to extension methods or not. So quaternion utils, vector utils are waiting for me. Then the irandom came from the base itself, but he was using a method that he didn't have, and I replaced it, and that was that range. And what else did I got from here? Let me see. Nothing more from here, but yeah, basically I just used his utils, you know, some of his utils and not all of them. For example, game object utils, I didn't even look at it. Coroutine utils, not yet. Component utils, I didn't look. Color utils, I didn't look. Assertion utils, I didn't look into it. I may add stuff from here, okay? So whenever I call a method that you don't see it of me implementing it itself, I highly suggest you download the zip, or the better way, just like myself, use a source control application. I always use source3, and you know, get it to a local repository, and then you can just show in Explorer and you have the whole thing inside one place. And if I open the solution, it's all there, okay, in two different solutions, one for editor and one for the base. Now that I have it, let me take a look inside array utils. I wonder, because he had this, one second until I find it. No, it's not working. Yeah. So for example, I removed these guys, okay? these temp values and I removed these part. I just kept empty because he had these guys and I said, you know, I don't need them. I just kept this empty method. Was this one? No. Here. Type T, pick random, this enumerable T, LST, I random range. But for me, this guy was, you know, here, the range one was red. And I wonder where it came from. Inside random utils, here we go. So I will take these two and I will go inside my own solution and where to put them. I have a random utils? No, I don't have. This is not my solution. God damn it. Move it on top. This is my solution. So I don't have any random util. The only place I'm using it is in array extensions, so I may add it below it, you know, boom. And then basically I can remove this part because this was the thing that I added and it's now yelling at me that irandom has that method and I don't need that. And basically now I don't have any errors. So I was not able to finding that inside GitHub. Where did it come from? But then even though I looked into random utils, I didn't find it because it was an extension method by itself. And let me see the random utils. For example, I got this statics and standard from there, okay? But I didn't get this guy from there. So what is he doing is that, interesting. He defined this private class of Unity3D, Unity3D that inherits from irandom, and well, he calls this standard, okay? So the standard, if you come down or up, come up, the standard returns a new random Unity3D, okay? Unity3D is a class that inherits his irandom util and just implements them. Nice, I liked it. I really liked it because let's do this, okay? So a class and I call random extensions. Yeah. So I will move this guy because really it's about randoming stuff. It shouldn't sit here to here. And random now asks for what it is and it's Unity engine. Cool. Now from here I will have errors because now I should say random extensions dot, and I forgot that it needs to be static. Good. And the standard. Yeah, I made it private, but it needs to be public now. It's a getter. What's your problem? Check for null exception. It can't be null, you know. I assigned it basically. Yeah, shut up. And now it compiled. Okay, cool. So that's one. This is the second, so random extensions dot standard. And the last one is random extensions dot standard. Okay, so I moved everything out except this range. So Control X, and because these are extension methods, you see this, these are extension methods, it will still work. I won't have any errors. And what are you? Yeah, Unity Engine Random. Okay. You see these comments, resharper, disable, disable, disable. Basically, there are things that Unity won't be happy about. And if I remove those comments, you will see that resharper every now and then gives you one of these yellow bars, and this green check mark won't happen. So I always, like I did here, if I remove this guy, you see that resharper gives you something. Okay, if you look, I have one green bar there. Although it's green, I don't like to have any green bars. The green bar means that resharper is giving you a suggestion, for example, to expression body in file, and you see that it converts this to this. But unfortunately, this lambda won't work in Unity. I tried it and it failed. If you want to, just Control C so that I have in memory, convert it, save it, come back, and there we go. Unity is not happy with this type of lambda, so reload that. I have to, now I can't Control Z. Good thing I copy pasted. So I have to do this way. Sorry. But now I don't want to see the bar. So I can just disable the comment in file, and I will get rid of every instance of something like this in the file. So yeah, those comments came this way. Okay, it's just about resharper not bothering me, and because it's a comment, Unity will completely ignore it. So that's the first part, and I just want my private stuff below any extensions, and I will regionify them like this. And the region, and now you will see how I fork to a unit to a project. Basically, let's say that this guy was in GitHub, okay, and I have on my second monitor. So what can I do? Well, he has another private. I copy it and I will paste it here for Microsoft RNG, okay? And it's not used yet, I know. So basically now I will start from top. This was what I done. Copy, paste, and check for errors. And you see that now he has a math util. I don't have that. But I took a look inside his math util. It's just tons of constants, and nice constant. Don't get me wrong. I will develop something like that myself. They are more like a lookup table more than anything else. So Control C, for example, this guy has some comments, and I will remove that comments. And let's get the rest. Now you see that Victor util, I don't have that. Okay, I will add it later as extension method. And there we go. Now I know that these two are the same as these two. Okay, so basically I had added them before. And Unity engine is redundant. Remove that and remove it in the code file. So Victor util, I will change the names because I don't like the util name with T. That is what I like. Utility, and I think I ruined it, this guy. Utility. 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 Utility, utility, and utility. So, first things first, we have the math utility that I want to add. And the math utility inside the project he has, as I said, it's more of constants. It's basically tons of constants and yeah, some static methods, but most of the time you would like these type of constants because these are the fastest way to calculate the values. Okay, so I will generate my own namespace called utilities. Inside that I will call a class called math utilities utility. Okay, and the only thing that I saw he was using is this guy. Bam, 2 pi, and it's 2 multiplied by pi value, or it's 180 degrees. And yeah, now import that namespace and those errors are gone. Victor utility, so I will have another one for Victor. But basically, before doing that, I want to see if these guys can be converted to, you know, extension methods, because I like extension methods. So Victor utility, where are you? There we go. He has get forward tangent. So get forward tangent, and I found it. So in extensions, I will insert a class calling it Victor extensions, and I will add it. Yeah, Unity engine. And now you see this Victor 3 forward, Victor 3 up. Okay. How about I convert it to this? And now it needs to be static. And I have an extension method. So instead of this guy, I can say Victor3 dot up, and I will remove this part. And I basically converted it to, you know, an extension method. So Victor3 dot up dot that, oh, dot forward, okay, forward with this axis. I just like it because now not only I can call it on base classes of Victor3, but also if I had any Victor3, I could call this method on. And that's the good thing about extension methods. So we have near same axis. Ah, it's not there. What the heck? Near, didn't find it. Okay. So near same axis, he is getting one axis as Victor3 and another Victor3 because he has some overloads for it. And the overload he's using is this one. I just I'm going for the overloads for time being that he is using. Okay, and convert it to this. And I know I have problems. So basically now I can say, look at here, access.do that for me, and it will work. So now math utility, yeah, and epsilon. Okay, looking for epsilon, and that's the epsilon. So that's one problem done. Now fuzzy equals, that's a method. So Control F for fuzzy equal, and I found it. Now he's giving a float, 2 floats, 3 floats. So that's this guy. Because again, he had overloads. Boom, okay? And math, yeah, import system math. And now I can convert again this guy to extension method. And I need to make this guy static. I don't know why didn't I do that the first time. So now where was that fuzzy equals? I lost it. Near access. Okay, here. No, here. Okay, so I can say instead of all of this, I can say Control C, or actually Control X. Control V. And because this first part is a float, and if you look, I'm extending a float, I can completely get rid of calling math utilities there. And I can do it on any float now, okay? For example, I could say b.fuzzy equals, and it should work. Oh no, b is a vector 2, okay. So for example, a vector 3, a b.x is a float, okay? Now I can say fuzzy equals, and I can call it. That is why I like extension methods compared to utilities, because sometimes you forget the utility class name, but when you are using a method, you always know what is that method. So now only thing remaining for me is to dive into these classes and, you know, convert them to extension methods. And to convert a class to extension method, you just need to be a public with a this and a static, of course. And because most of the time the utility methods are public statics and they return something, then you can simply add this to the first param and make it an extension method. That's really easy, that's really fast. But yeah, so you want me on the fly? Work on the fly? Here is me on the fly. Bam. This is crazy, I know, but he gave me permissions. Why not? So, and I really encourage you to fork or get a local repository of this GitHub he has, because I'm just scratching the surface. You know, he has tons of things there. The last episode I saw something and called it on the video, and I still wonder what a bidirectional dictionary can be. I never heard about it. Bidirectional dictionary. So I think these are some wrapper methods. I'm not sure why he had that, because mathf.sign has its own. But take a look at now. I can say this, and I convert it to a extension method. And yeah, that would work. Yeah, he has some wrappers around some of the mathf classes, maybe because these work faster. I know for the fact, for example, the lerp in the mathf class is not as fast as you writing your own simple lerps. And I will add them sometime in future into this class. That is why I'm adding it, and I will now convert this guy to math extension. No, I can do this, you know. In extensions, I can add an class called math extensions, make it static, and now I can remove these guys from here, because these are more like extension methods, and those are some constants that you can use. So add them here, and yeah, import. Thank you. Now I can say math utility dot. What did I miss? Oh, the namespace. Okay. Okay. And basically now I can say bye-bye to math utility, because I don't have anything there. I will add something to this though. I will show it in the video. So public int array I will call primes equals to something. This something will happen in future, not now. Okay? Equals to new array of something. Come on, I shouldn't need this. For example, I know 2 is a prime, 3 is a prime, 5 and 7, and then 11 and 13 and 17. Let me see. 14, 15, 16, yeah, 17, 19, 23, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So, primes, what is your problem? Yeah, it needs to be static. Okay. And not a static, it can be a constant. Equals to new array of that. And why are you not happy? Static redundant. Okay, that will work. And now this is redundant. Okay, so I will add to this guy later. I know that I will do it because and I will record a video. Actually, I think the next video would be that about how you can get all the primes you want until a very big number and put them on inside a text file, and then open the text file and copy paste it here, and forever you will have all the primes. For example, for uint, okay, or for int. So I will call this one int primes, and I will have another one for, and it's this time uint array, and that is uint primes. Okay. So because the max value on uint is much more than int, and that would wait for another episode. So between now and the next time you see me, I will add more math utilities and maybe not utilities, math extensions and vector extensions. Okay. So until next episode, have fun everyone. Bye bye. Hello everyone. I'm back from future because when I'm porting stuff, it occurred to me that it can become a little better. First of all, some of the methods are sitting inside vector utilities on that repository, for example this guy, it's basically accepting a float as the param and returning a vector 2. Because it's returning a vector 2, LordOfDuct decided to put it inside of vector 2 utils, but in my opinion, because it's operating on a float, it would be a better place to put it on math extensions. Second thing, I saw this a lot. If something's happening, he's returning something. If that didn't happen, then he is returning something else. Although this else may look like it's more readable, it's redundant. This will work. So, first of all, move this to our math extensions at the end. There. Yeah. Thank you. Now, the second thing that came to my attention is that this. When we are adding clamp, not as a static class, but as an extension method, or many other of these extension methods, most of the time we are assigning it to itself. Look at here, input x equals to input x.clamp. So is there a way to avoid it? Of course it's the way to avoid it. So if I go, for example, into the implementation, I can say bool assign to self, and I will give a default value. So we say if assign to self, then here we say input equals to this, okay, and input. Just in case we want it to be assigned at the same time to another thing, we say return the input. Okay? Otherwise, we are returning the value because we are not assigning to ourselves. So because it's now assigned to itself, if I come back here, I can get rid of this part of this tab, and it will work. It's the same because basically now we are assigning it to ourselves, and I don't need to flag it true because by default it's true. Okay? And yeah, I think I will add it to tons of these methods. For example, I don't know, for this guy, okay, any other clamp that I have, because most of the time when I clamping a value, you may want it to be assigned to itself. If you don't want to, then it's easy. You just say, you know, false, and it will assign to a new variable, not itself. Okay? So and let me see, here is no. Okay, there are tons of these examples. If I go to, for example, I'm in random and I'm saying why it's short. Okay, for example, well, for the sign, no. For truncate, it accepts a float, it returns a float, so we can add it. Fuzzy, no, it's returning bools. Okay, but shear, yes, we can. Although shear is just getting the non-decimal part of the value, maybe that's all we want. And by default, I will set it to false. Okay. In range, no, those that are returning booleans, we can't do anything with them. The sum, this was like this, param, okay, params. I changed the params to this so that now it works on an array of shorts, integer, blah, blah, blah. Product, no. No. no, no. Interpolate. And I will assign it to false, basically. Actually, b minus a multiplied by weight plus a. Yeah, we want to assign to itself if possible, because that would be easier. Okay, speed lerp, sure. Accelerative lerp, sure. Percentage min max. By default, false. Some of these are personal preferences. You can change them if you want to. Min max wrap. For example, for the wrapping, yeah, I want to assign it to itself, because at the end we are doing it, you know, we are returning itself. Now let me show you what I want here. I don't want to touch it unless I want it to touch. So we say if assign to self, do all of this. Okay. Otherwise I want something else. And I didn't mean to do that. This. I ruined something. Okay. That's that. That. But instead of this, I will say, you know, cut the whole thing, move it to the top, and I will say what? Short, and I will call it temp equals to value minus min, and cast to short. No, actually I want a float here. So float, then max minus equals, then if that's the case, instead of returning, I will say temp equals to that, and this is redundant. Then we say temp equals to that, temp equals to plus equals to min. If temp is less than min, then temp plus equals to max. If assigned to self, we say value equals to temp, and we return it. We return the value. Okay, and now we need to cast a short, basically. Otherwise, we just return the temp. So we don't assign to ourselves, okay? And yeah, I know, typecast it to short. So that's it. Now, same thing happens here. So, and this is redundant. Shut up. Okay, so this will happen time and time. So I will, for example, instead of changing the value, I will make a temporary value, and if I assign to myself, then assign the final result here that we are returning it. Okay, so that I can untouch the value if I need to, but I return a new value that is wrapped between the value and the max and, for example, a min. Okay. And now arithwap, yeah, why not? And we said that our clamps should assign to self. Clamp or default, yeah. Round to, yeah, why not? Floor to same, seal to same. Round to intervals. Seal to interval. Slam. Yeah. Radian to degree. Normalize angle. Nearest angle between. Shorten angle to another. This is interesting one. Normalize angle to another. Interpolate angle. For example, you see now A1 normalized angle. Because it's true, okay, I can say A1 to do that. But yeah, I will come to these guys later. Clamp to 180 to 360. Log base off is prime. No, it returns a bool. It converts an array to an integer to an array, so we can't do that. Wait. Yeah. Now it accepts an int, return an int. Boom. Basically, whenever I see that the param that I'm working is the same as the return type, I can assign it to myself if I want to. For example, here I can't. It accepts a uint and returns a long, so I can't do that. But here I can, and here I cannot. Okay, so I will come back to this method and let me put a to-do on top because I'm busy right now. Right here. To do. Go over the whole file and look for where you need to assign to yourself or remove redundant assignment in method bodies. There we go. And that is not the bodies, this is the bodies. So back to Vector Utils and back to continue my job. Have fun, everyone. Bye bye.